Flouricum Acidum. It takes a long time for this remedy, in the proving, to develop its symptoms. It is a very deep-acting medicine, and an antiseric, antisyphilitic and anti-psychotic. It is insidious in its action and its symptoms are slow in approach. It is like the deepest and slowest and most tedious diseases, the miasms, and hence it is suitable in the very slowest and lowest forms of disease. While it has in its nature some febrile action, it is not for this purpose that it is oftenest called, for its most typical febrile action is very slow and insidious. It corresponds to overheated states of the system, old cases of nightly fevers, coming on week after week and year after year. It is an unusually hot-blooded remedy at times, and again it has conditions of coldness. In the evening and night great heat seems to evolve from the body without increase of temperature. The skin becomes very hot. That patient is often aggravated from warm things, aggravation from covering, aggravation from warm air, suffocates somewhat like pulsatilla in a warm room. He wants to bathe the face and head in cold water, such bathing is grateful. The feet burn and are put out of bed in the night. He hunts around in bed for a cool place for the feet and bands. The soles perspire, and the palms perspire, and the sweat is acrid, making the parts sore, excoriation from the sweat between the toes. The perspiration is offensive, acrid sweat between the toes. Burning, unusual heat and acridity are words that modify a great many symptoms. An acrid lacrimation or other discharge from the eye, acrid discharge from the nose, acrid sweat, etc. Insatiation of burning and burning pains in parts. Heat evolved from the body as a chronic state. Aggravation from heat, from outward heat and from inward heat, belongs to this remedy. It is a strong feature of this remedy to be worse from drinking tea and coffee. Warm drinks bring on a diarrhea, or flatulence, or disturbance in the stomach, and cause indigestion to manifest itself in various ways. The symptoms are worse standing and sitting, and better in the open air. It is a remedy of great depth of action. It so disturbs the functions that there are peculiar outward signs in the nails, in the hair, in the skin. They are all imperfectly developed. Whenever such is the case, we know that a remedy has great depth of action and that it is very long acting. It forms like incrustations here and there upon the skin that seem to have no tendency to heal. A crust forms, but there seems to be no healing beneath the crust. The hair loses its luster, it falls out, and if examined closely under the microscope it is seen to be necrosed. Little ragged ulcers will be found along the course of the hair. The ends of the hair are dry, the hair mats and splits and breaks, becomes ragged in masses and lusterless. The nails are crippled, likewise corrugations in the nails. The nails grow too fast and grow awkwardly, that is, they are deformed and crippled, too thick in some places, and too thin in others, break easily, brittle. There is a tendency to breaking down of a slow character, where the circulation is very feeble and the skin is near bone or cartilage, as in the cartilages eye, and the ears, and in the cartilages of joints. Ulcers develop over the tibia. There is feeble circulation in the hands and feet and they become cold. In the evening the extremities burn and are feverish, because that is the time of the feverish state, but in the morning and in the daytime there is coldness of the extremities. The patient is pallid and sickly, and at times becomes waxy and dropsical, edema of the extremities, and particularly of the lower extremities, edema of certain parts, edema of the prepuce. When a debilitated subject, one suffering from bone and cartilaginous troubles, contracts gonorrhea, with it he will have enormous swelling of the prepuce, and nothing seems to act upon it. Fluoric acid will cure edema of the prepuce with gonorrhea in such a subject. Cannabis sativa has the same symptom, but it is especially useful in robust cases. Fluoric acid will prevent the manifestation of disease in psychotic subjects, will prevent formation of fig warts. It cures fig warts. It produces hardened, dry warts, and dry crusts upon the skin, and crusts not unlike rupea. It is useful in syphilitic rupea. Bone affections stand out prominently. Necrosis, especially of the long bones, but also of the bones of the ear. It creates an offensive acrid discharge from the ear. It establishes an offensive ezena, an acrid discharge, with necrosis of the nasal bones. It is very analogous to Alopecia, and it is one of the natural followers of Alopecia where Alopecia has been too frequently repeated. Why persons who do not know that Alopecia does its best in a single dose and that it is a long-acting and slow medicine. It not only antidotes the abuse of Alopecia, but also follows Alopecia after practicing a while. You will be surprised to observe the pendulum L-like action between beat and cold in various complementary remedies. To make that clear, I will illustrate it by using the series in which this remedy is set, and to which it naturally belongs. You take a patient who is hot-blooded, who is always suffering from the heat, from too much clothing and too warm a room, especially in the evenings, a patient that is tearful and sad, and maybe a blonde. Why, you say, I am trying to describe a pulsatile patient. Well, yes, anyone can see that. Pulsatile is a hot-blooded patient, but after using that remedy a while you notice that the patient goes to the other extreme and may chilly, and wants much clothing. The heat is taken out of the case. Alopecia is the natural follower of pulse, and you would be astonished to know how often a patient leaving pulse runs toward Alopecia. Alopecia goes deeper into the case, it does more cutting, and it is the natural chronic of pulse. Other remedies of course follow pulse, but Alopecia more frequently than any other medicine. Now, that is the second step. The patient has gone from a warm to a cool state. The overheated state has been lost and he has gone into Alopecia. But when Alopecia has been administered for a while, it cures the cold state and removes the chilliness of the patient. Remember, however, that Alopecia has at times something of pulse in it. In some of its complaints it is aggravated from being overheated, and the patient under Alopecia goes back to the warm state again, becomes hot-blooded, wants the warm covers thrown off, wants to be lightly covered. Then it is that this medicine comes in the series. Fluoric acid follows Alopecia as naturally as Alopecia follows pulse. They exist in threes. Aries. There are other remedies that exist in threes, but the most common ones you will think of will be alpha, calcia and lyco. Alpha, asperilla and apia, and colocynthis and causticum and taphysgria, which often follow each other and rotate in this way. Do not let these facts make you give a routine remedy unless the symptoms agree, but it does help to remember that remedies are somewhat similar. It is true that pulse, Alopecia and fluoric acid are similar all along the line as to the nature of their symptoms. Pulsatile corresponds to more acute disturbances, or to the earlier stages of chronic disease, the more active or violent operations of chronic disease. It will take off the wire edge of the disease, and it will be followed by some medicine that is complementary to it, always to be determined by the symptoms that arise. There are cases that would be greatly injured by so deeply acting a remedy as Alopecia if given in the beginning, that is, the suffering would be unnecessary, but if you commence with pulse you can mitigate the case and prepare it to receive Alopecia, providing the two would appear to be on a plane of agreement. A very serious case had better first receive pulse, and the way being paved by that remedy follow it up with Alopecia. Bones. Think of the remedy, then, in vicious bone diseases, in necrosis and caries, in fistulous openings, fistula leading to the teeth, fistula lacrimalis and fistula in ano, in calcareous degenerations, in deformity of the nails, hair and teeth, in affections of the thigh bones and leg bones, with chronic fistulous openings leading to bone discharging pus which excoriates the parts solaro, undu. The patient is over-sensitive, is made worse if the bowels do not move regularly, is distressed if the menstrual flow is slightly delayed, suffers if the call to urinate cannot be immediately attended to, hence, as in the text, headaches relieved by micturition. Headache. That symptom is all that is given in the text, but remember something that is analogous to it, viz., if the call to urinate be not attended to, the headache will continue to grow aggravation until the urine is avoided. That is a peculiar symptom, and it sometimes leads to the study of fluoric acid. Violent congestive headache with beat and fullness. Violent occipital headaches, worse from motion. Now, if we take into consideration its great depth of action, we will see furthermore that it is suitable in some brain diseases. In persons who have overworked, who have been working day and night to establish a business, or to keep it up, and when there has been constant use of the brain, it is suitable. Thanks for watching full video. Press the red subscribe button and then bell icon to get the latest updates.